But
I'm fully listen, I don't need anybody. Let's get that straight. I don't need a soul. I'm fully content by myself, and that makes me a dangerous motherfucker. Live.
we're live? Okay. Well, hi, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm so honored to be hosting this podcast, to be quite honest with you, because you two are literally my favorite people. So we have me, and you are the CEO of Cobra Concept. We're going to dive into that a little deeper soon, but just a little bit about you. You are an expert fitness coach, right? You are NASM certified. You're a nutrition expert. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Tell us what it is that you do, because from my understanding, this is more than just fitness. This is a lifestyle. This is a way of living. Tell us a little bit about it, because that's really fascinating to me.
Okay. Well, everything you said sounds good. I'm a trainer. I've been training clients for about 4 years now. I've been training myself. I have about 11, 12 years experience. I've studied. I went to school. I'm NASM certified. That's kind of my credentials, my background. And I always strive to seek the next big thing. Like for me, it's not about one thing, like one set thing. There's many ways to achieve your goals, and that's what I preach. That's what I instill within all my clients. I allow them to experiment, and I teach them what they need to know in order for them to build their own journey.
And I did notice that. I have never seen clients transform more than your clients. Like, you really take each person's needs into consideration, and everyone's different.
Yeah,
So I've seen how you work, and I've seen how clients come to you with goals and actually reach them. A lot of times people tell me, oh, I've been training with a personal trainer for so long, but I'm not getting the results that I want. And with you, I'm really seeing a consistent report from people. They are getting results, and they're getting them pretty quickly. So
that's why I do my job. I don't do
Yeah.
it for any other reason than to help people progress. I don't really think about the money. I don't think about any of that. I don't market myself to the extreme. I'm really kind of one of those dime a dozen guys. Like, I have tons to give, and am completely undervalued for the most part because I don't put myself out there like that. But for anybody that knows me personally, like, I hold myself to a huge standard. So I live by that. I'll die by that.
It's passion is what it is. That's passion. And actually, not to completely change the subject, but we do have Nico here, and he's just sitting there quietly.
No, it's good to hear, yeah.
Okay, so Nico, you are a general contractor. And this is totally two different fields, but you guys know each other, and you guys have a really cool, there's a really cool vibe between you two. And I really wanted to get a conversation going.
Nico's probably my best friend.
I think so.
Aw, I feel the same way.
I can tell just from how you guys talk to one another and how deep you guys get in conversation. And that's kind of why you're both here together. Do you want to talk a little bit about yourself and your relationship with Amit and how you guys got to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, obviously the first time we met each other was back in 2016. You were, I forgot what girl you were dating at that point, but that's not important. Always a guy with the ladies. But, to talk more about you and your drive and what you're very passionate about, being an athlete and training people. It's always been there at the forefront.
Yeah.
So, it hasn't wavered, since 2016. So it really shows that this isn't just something that you're doing, just because everyone and their brother is doing something about being an athlete and being a personal trainer. And it's something you're really passionate about. So it's cool to see.
Appreciate the kind words, the support always.
And you guys have bonded over like literally everything. You guys talk about everything. I've seen you guys get really, really close over the years. You guys talk about relationship problems.
Yeah. I mean, I have two brothers of my own. AJ, he's a police officer in Washington. He's 26 years old, and my youngest brother is Harrison, and he just finished his freshman year at University of Buffalo. And I've always considered Amit as my third brother, and Shahar too. Love Shahar, but Amit for sure is definitely like my third brother. So I feel like I always can connect with you like I connect with them with anything, like you said, especially with relationships, life. So much to life that we can relate on and talk
it's
about.
so funny because you guys are two different people and you have completely different views, and the fact that you guys are so close.
We're on the growth trajectory, and when you're on that uphill battle, it's hard to find real friends. So when you got them, it's kind of dope because we can come to each other and express ourselves. We don't got too many of those nowadays.
And that's honestly the good foundation of a good friendship, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're going to have disagreements.
Exactly. Like you've had conversations with people where it feels very superficial. You maybe get like a foot into the water and that's about it. Like, oh, what do you do for work? How's the family? What'd you eat? What do you do for hobbies? And that's about it.
That's called surface level.
That's surface. It's superficial.
And I hate surface level.
Terrible.
People need people in order for people to get vulnerable, to be vulnerable, to open up to people. I feel like that's becoming more rare.
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit about that.
It's because people don't like to stick around, Like when you stick around through thick and thin, like you're investing. And when you're invested in someone, whether it's like acquaintance even, that becomes more of like a friend. And eventually, like just like with family, like we're all so invested in each other, we call each other family, not just because we're blood, but because the investment we all put into each other. So to me, blood is, it's always blood, but like it's all about how much people are investing into each other. Even something as simple as ring me up and, really care about what I'm doing and watch me and watch my back. And likewise, and life is all about watching people's backs and helping them. And, that's a big topic that I want to express here. And that's why I'm glad to have this podcast with Nico, because it's someone close to me. And I'm excited.
That's awesome to hear, because honestly, from my view on the world, I am seeing the world become distant, people becoming more distant, people becoming focused on things that, in my opinion, don't matter, like social media.
Sure.
Like in the grand scheme of things, people aren't focused on the things that really matter.
Yeah.
Relationships, like what you guys have is, I believe, rare nowadays. I mean, I go out, I see how people interact. They don't have those close connections that people used to have. And maybe you guys can tell me why you think that is, and how you guys truly opened yourselves up to having a good relationship, because it's not easy nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, if I could tackle that first, honestly, the easiest answer I would say is probably because of COVID. I mean, even prior to COVID, people were being a little bit more isolated a little bit. But once COVID hit and there was a forced isolation period, people had to stay home. There was no more going out to eat or talking with people. I mean, it really compounded that problem. Because obviously once smartphones came out, I mean, the example that people always use is like if you go and wait in line at like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks or whatever to grab something, typically before smartphones, you would have a conversation or waiting in the doctor's office or the dentist. You would have a conversation with the person next to you. At least I would.
That's so true.
You'd ask them, oh, where are you from? What's your name? Oh, that's great. Oh, you know this person. I know this person. Now that when smartphones came out, that's no longer. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not a hypocrite. I literally would either be on my phone looking at ESPN or lacrosse or Reddit or something, rather than being like, I'm going to start a conversation with this guy. Like that's just too much of an effort. And then once COVID occurred, I feel it compounded that. I mean, we were forced into isolation, and then it just snowballed. It can be beat if you put in effort. I just think some people just don't want to put in the effort to have that. It
really did snowball. And it's funny because I have like a bunch of single girlfriends, and they tell me all the time, remember when we used to go out? I mean, I haven't been single in 7 years, but anyway, when we used to go out back in the day, like I feel like guys would just approach us all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to like fish for compliments. I'm just saying guys used to just approach us, and now they tell me they go out and it's like radio silent. Everyone has their groups of friends that they sit with, but they're on their phones, and people are more reluctant to approach people. I don't know. How about you? You're young still. I mean, is like in that age where they still go out. Like, do you see that difference? Is it true? Like, am I just imagining things?
I think, in my opinion, things are a little more shallow, not as genuine. Like, I haven't really had I stopped going out so much personally because I feel like I haven't really had those like good nights, and you know, going out now is so casual. Like I think it should be something that's like a social aspect of like going out. I think it's kind of it lost the sauce.
Like, what's the intention behind going out nowadays? Why do you go out?
I think people like honestly, it stems from like I don't know, the generation. Like people seek attention. People like attention. People like to get dressed up, go out, and this and that. I think it's not really about having fun anymore. You know,
It's about who's gonna see me.
Yeah, like dude, like you know, if you look at all these stories, and you look at all these stories, like these girls are just screaming "A" like 24/7. Like it's the same thing. I feel like shaking their booties.
Wait, what?
I just heard shaking and saying A and shaking booties.
Yeah. Like literally, bro. That's all I see.
Yeah.
I don't really see nothing like close bonds and like that type of thing.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
I do think also like now people go out to meet people, but it's so hard. It's so much harder because now there's this idea that there's always someone hotter, always someone more, beautiful, always somebody that's smarter, funnier, and you have that at the tip of your fingers on your phone, and you can just swipe through. And there's social media, and there's all these different factors that go into that. Like it's messing with people's minds. It really is messing with people's minds and the way that they approach relationships.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly, again, like you said, it's at the tip of your finger. You just swipe, meet, and then if you find something that typically what do they call it? The ick. Find an ick
oh my
about
God,
someone.
they have icks now.
They have icks now.
Like, am
right?
I that old that I didn't know what an ick was?
Same here.
Do you know what an ick is? Okay.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Look at that.
Wow. Look at that. So apparently nowadays there's a thing called an ick, and you meet someone, you might like them, but there's one thing about them that's giving you the ick.
They sneeze weird. They chew their food loud. They have a weird toe. That's an ick.
That's an ick. You're done. You're done. You're going to walk out on the date because of that ick.
Yeah.
And because I feel like it goes back to it's at your fingertips.
Exactly.
Oh, there's someone that doesn't have an ick.
His toe looked funky.
It's a
I'm going to the next one.
non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable.
But we how can we get to the point? Like how have we gotten to the point? At least I don't date. I mean I'm married now and whatnot. But like I couldn't imagine being going in the dating world and
it's scary.
Being cast out because of one little thing. I mean, that's
it's scary as fuck.
Well, people like quick fixes, right? The world is surrounded by it now more than ever. Quick fixes to everything. Everything's so quick at our fingertips. Everything's so fast paced. Attention spans dwindled. I think same thing with relationships. I think people like that quick high of meeting someone, and keeping things interesting. But a year in, a few months in, relationships usually I think they last maybe a few months and people fucking move on because it's like you get that high and then it's like, oh, you think you don't like this person anymore. You fell out of love, but in reality, you just don't have that high anymore. You don't know what it's like to put in work and accept that person for their shortcomings,
And that's so sad.
That's terrible.
It's so sad because I feel like relationships, attractions, the closeness, love, it grows over time.
Yeah.
I'm a believer that it's a choice.
Not to mention too that maybe just call me a romantic, but I feel that's the beauty of life is being able to share a certain. Granted, not every relationship works. Clearly, you have to go through a couple of relationships to get to that final one. Because I think that's what we all search for.
It's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve, yeah. But I think when you go through that, that's the beauty of it. You have that. There's this quote in this movie. I can't remember. I think it's in Vanilla Sky, where the guy is telling Tom Cruise, he's like, you appreciate the sweet in life because you go through the sour. You can't have the sweet without the sour, and that's it. And I always remember that ever since that movie. It's the beauty of life. Got to have those sour relationships to appreciate the sweet.
If you live by fear, I think that's the foundation to the root of whether you have any relationship problems or anything like that. I think if you fear like regret, like let's say you don't allow yourself to love the person you're with because you're thinking, what else is out there? What if there's someone out there that I could be with right now that will make me happier? Because you think external things and other people might make you happier, but honestly, until you're happy with yourself, until you put in that self-work, you don't really know, you don't really understand or comprehend that happiness doesn't come from anybody else.
I'm sorry that we have Darwin. He's the dog, and he's just sleeping.
He's the dog of the podcast.
He's the dog of the podcast, and he's
Literally.
literally snoring. So if you hear that on the mic, I hope the mic doesn't pick it up. But
That's okay.
but to get back
Sounds like
to
a
it,
gardener.
I know. To get back to it, though, I feel like people are just always seeking what could make me happier because they're not happy. And I think it's a deep-rooted unhappiness that they have to figure out on their own. And that's why when they date somebody and they like them, they self-sabotage. Oh, there must be something better out there for me. Oh, he chews gum really weird. I'm going to go find someone who doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It's a scary situation because I feel like if you don't go into it accepting somebody's flaws.
Men that know themselves, that are confident in who they are, will see right through all that shit in a woman. They'll see right through all their makeup, all their whatever swagger, beauty, or fucking whatever they got going on. They'll see right through that. Real men want like a real woman, like, you know what I'm saying?
But you're talking about the needle in the haystack, and I'm speaking on behalf of like a lot of women out there. Where are those men?
Because it does cut both ways. I mean, real women want to seek a real man want to seek a real woman, right?
I mean, wherever you're at in life is
there's
what
jokers.
I believe in the law of
everywhere.
attraction. I believe in the law of attraction. I think wherever I'm at with full confidence and full trust, those are the people that are gonna come into my life and support me where I need to be supported. Like, if you live by your past, the past is going to keep showing up. You're going to keep getting that same person with a different face, but with the same characteristic. It's like the same cliche with girls and daddy issues. You know, they keep getting the same type of guy.
You went there. So what?
Are you trying to like never date another woman again if this goes like viral? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but
I'm fully listen, I don't need anybody. Let's get that straight. I don't need a soul. I'm fully content by myself, and that makes me a dangerous motherfucker.
everyone needs somebody. I mean, not need, but it's nice to have somebody.
Of course. You know, life is full of stress, and we seek companionship. It's human nature.
Exactly.
But taking yourself out of that perspective, it's not a necessity. It's not a need. It's a want. But you just said it's human nature. Isn't that a need? It depends how attached or detached you are. There's two ends to the stick, and neither are good. You want to have balance. A girl that can give you balance is a good one.
What's your definition of balance?
Where the one end, they don't even make a scratch. The other end, they're trying to kill you. The balance is...
What do you mean, like it?
They do it just right.
Okay,
he's talking
elaborate.
about the psycho spectrum.
Yeah,
you're
like,
either completely, you have nothing, like no substance, or you're like a psycho ass bitch. I need someone in the middle.
Yeah, because listen, we all like a little flavor, right? If it's too good to be true, like there's something fucked up.
It's the Lisa Mendoza line.
Really?
So I'm going to reference, I'm a big movie buff, big TV guy. So there's this show called How I Met Your Mother. And there's a character in there that he talks about there's a correlation between a hot and crazy. And he basically calls it it's like the Lisa Mendoza line, the Lisa Mendoza curve. And as you go more hot, unfortunately, that correlates to how crazy they get.
That's true.
So you need to find that nice curve in the middle, that 50th, middle bell curve percentile, where you find she's a nice 6 or 7. She has a little dabble of crazy.
Everyone's a little crazy.
Go
though.
for a 10, but inadvertently you're gonna get some crazy.
I don't fuck with 10s, but them bitches are crazy.
As I said, it's a
dude.
fact.
Every highly successful person, you ain't gonna catch them with a fucking dime piece. Hell no. They can't achieve that amount of success.
What do you mean, dime piece?
Like a fucking 10 out of 10. Like, you can't achieve some high feat in life with that shit on your back.
Well, I feel like that's just your opinion of what a 10 is. Maybe to them,
Yeah.
that is a 10.
Exactly. Who says what you dictate is a 10?
Well,
everyone has different
Yeah,
tastes.
Society status quo 10.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Oh my God, I hate that so much.
Can we agree that there is a dominating perspective on beauty to society status quo?
Yeah,
Which is what's projected.
I will say society has played a huge role in what they try to shove down our throats and perceive as this is beauty and this is not beauty. That's correct. Yes.
So,
yeah.
Again, to your point, the society. I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but to get to your point of society can very much play a role in what we perceive to say this is attractive, this is not attractive. However, it's up to you, the person, to say, I don't agree with that. You don't have to go with the crowd. If the crowd says blonde hair and blue eyes is what's attractive, that's what you should go for. I don't care. I like brunettes.
Yeah.
I like redheads. That's society.
No, for sure.
can
To
push.
an extent, listen, that goes for anything, not even just women. To an extent, we all have our individual preferences. But, what society pushes, whether it's style, whether it's trends, whether it's whatever the fuck it is, it's what the majority kind of take on as part of their lifestyle. I think societal pressure is a real thing. And that's why all these women are out here doing fucking, what's that Pokemon called? Gold, whatever, the fucking fish Pokemon.
Goldie?
Magikarp?
Magikarp.
Oh, Goldie. Wait, is there a Pokemon named Goldie?
There's Goldeen.
That's what I thought.
Goldeen, yeah, no,
Gold-
not Goldeen.
Goldeen turns into sinking. Magikarp turns into
Magikarp is
Gyarados.
freaking,
Fucking
Gyarados.
Yeah, they're looking like Gyarados.
Well, it does go both ways.
Yeah.
For women and men, I just want to put that out there.
And men are using fucking testosterone more than ever now. I mean, go into any local gym, I guarantee you fucking more than 50% of these people are on steroids nowadays. It's almost like it blows my fucking mind.
There is a downside to the way that the world is getting more into fitness
Everything's
now.
artificial now. Like, if guys using steroids, girls abusing fucking Botox, this and that. We might as well be robots. Like this artificial intelligence shit coming out. I mean, that's pretty much where we're headed to. That's the direction.
Oh man, did you hear about the Google guy, the godfather of AI? The guy who basically created AI.
That he just quit.
Yeah, he quit.
Yeah.
He resigned from Google.
Oh, I saw that.
I sent you the link.
Oh, you sent it to
I
me.
sent that to you. It basically, he resigned so he couldn't be sued. But obviously, he can't talk negatively in any kind of way of Google if he works for Google. So he, at least from what I read, he had to resign in order to talk about the dangers of it. And he basically said like he regrets doing it. It was basically ego that drove him because they were in competition with Microsoft, Bill Gates. And so it was just a rat race of who could perfect this technology. And obviously, Google won. This guy did it. And he basically quit because he's like, I am terrified of my creation.
Dude, I mean, listen, now everything is done for us.
Done.
Dude,
Done.
Everything we want, like I'll talk about something that I want to buy and I'll have it right in front of my face without ever even asking for it. You know what I'm saying? It's used everywhere.
I think it's
And we eat artificial, we look artificial, we buy artificial. What the fuck? We might, you know what I'm saying? The world is
it's
up.
It's definitely terrifying.
Officially, we're plastic.
Well, I mean, honestly, to get to that, I mean, do you know how much microplastics we ingest with everything we eat and drink?
Oh my God, we're going down a
We
fucking
literally are
rabbit hole
plastic.
right now.
just to add on to that, but no, it's terrifying because I mean, obviously, if you reference any sci-fi, horror movie you've ever watched, whether it's Transcendence, even though Johnny Depp was trying to do good in that, but like, I mean, you look at any type of book you've read or anything that wherever AI becomes sentient and starts thinking for themselves, it's...
Well, in Transcendence, it was more than AI. He was an actual human being downloaded
Correct.
into a computer.
But
because it was a human mind that could, write its own code and have access to the internet and literally gain the trillions of files of information in a second, in a split second, then that's a scary thought.
Scary.
We don't know what's going to happen at that point.
I just hope the aliens come before the robots. And
I think the aliens should watch out for us. We're gonna come. Our AI is gonna come to them.
I was thinking zombies were gonna emerge because of this whole COVID thing.
Well, you know where I get worried about AI is that it's really becoming creative. It's creating music, it's creating art, it's creating scripts. Type an essay for
Scripts,
you.
But it's all digital. It's all digital.
But it
can't
almost
create a chair.
Well, there's three.
I mean, it can.
Well, what do
We
you
create
can-
the machine that can create the chair, but it alone, the intelligence alone, is not. It's not an.
Well, if
it's
it
not a
can-
material. It's in an invisible realm.
Correct, but if it starts to write its own code, there's no mention that it
Oh, then
could.
we're fucked.
Yeah,
Then
it
it's
writes its
iRobot fucking in
correct.
real life.
It could hijack a manufacturing plant to create a 3D printer, which
Right.
could create this. Which
But does it have the emotions of like being like vengeful?
No.
It's trying to survive. If it's a real thing, then survival of the fittest. If it, you know what I'm saying, it'll take over the planet. It'll take over humans.
I have a funny story. So I was on Reddit, and I forget if it was Boston Dynamics at MIT or somewhere, where they basically took an AI, they took a robot, not an AI, they took a robot and fed it in some kind of way, like some type of AI technology-esque, to give it a personality. They basically fed it Reddit. And comments of Reddit, posts on Reddit and everything, and literally the robot starts spewing out just the most racial hatred, vile.
my
And they literally
God.
had to just, so basically if you're on Reddit, I mean, any of us, we're all on Reddit, you know how that is, but they literally had to shut the robot down, erase it, because they're like, yeah, no, that.
Make sure every piece is disintegrated. Dude.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I did not expect that because when I think of Reddit, I love Reddit.
Love Reddit.
Those people are funny, they're witty.
Yeah.
but it's
there
so true.
is a dark
They're-
side to it, for sure.
Damn, that robot went straight to the controversial
Yeah.
comments.
But
Any
we're essentially
movie
like a
watch.
machine. Like we have, you know what I'm saying? But we're not plugged into the wall. We don't need energy from that. We have a fucking.
We need to sleep.
We have consciousness. Like we have, like every animal has something that's governing everything that's happening in their bodies. That's what the spirit is, I think. Like we essentially like are playing God by creating something, but we can never give it consciousness. We can.
I mean, isn't that the big debate in science and technology that it will eventually possibly
Become
have
sentient.
consciousness?
Have consciousness.
I mean,
And that's where
I
things
could
can get
never-
really freaky.
Like a machine having a brain like ours?
I mean, if you can fuse it with real living cells and like that can replicate each other.
So cyborg.
I'm really curious what the future will look like. Hopefully I'm alive by then. But it would actually also
I'm not worried
be
about it. It's entertainment. Like, you know.
entertainment.
If in my lifetime, you know, there's aliens, zombies, that would be fucking cool.
At least we live to see it.
For that 5 seconds.
Unless it's like really creepy shit, like Predators versus Aliens or whatever, then and I can't fight it, then it's fucked.
That's most likely what it would be like.
it
I
would
mean,
eat
what
my head
what
and
would be
shit.
and I highly doubt something that, and we're talking about aliens here.
I can't believe we are talking about aliens.
Yeah.
I
here.
think
Well,
we- I think
they
we-
released
we talked.
documents.
Didn't we start with fitness and we ended with aliens?
It always comes down to the aliens. It's a common denominator.
I know.
I actually think we're like really supreme. We hold supreme. Like even in the universe, like they may have like crazier technology, different resources, but I really do think like we have transcendental knowledge and power from like God. Like I don't think anything surpasses that.
I would think if they have the technology to
But
travel,
but what if they
light
don't
years-
have? They may have the technology, and we can steal that technology. What if they don't have the same emotional capacity to conquer?
I mean,
We have conquer. We conquer everything.
well, then the question is, why bother? Because obviously it's been released. The U.S. has released documentation and photo and visual of actual spaceships, UFOs, whatever UAVs. I think that's what they call them now, coming into our orbit. We've captured them. They're here. What's the point of sending ships and then piecing? It's reconnaissance, right?
They're checking us out.
Exactly. They're curious. And the fact that we can't even send a probe. Japan just tried sending a probe to the moon, just to land on the moon. We have rovers on Mars. We have something going towards Neptune. But the fact is that we can't land a ship.
No, our shit's blowing up in the sky.
And that's within our solar system. There's no habitable planets in our solar system. Okay, so we can only drive within us to the Mars, to Moon, making trips out far out. They have ships that can be piloted into our orbit and take off at a moment's notice at different trajectories and speeds that are unfathomable to us.
Well, we're talking about if they exist.
No, they do.
But what if
those are unidentified flying objects. We don't know what they are. They could be laughing at us if we're a fucking joke.
These carbon.
What if they look at our fucking cars as like the same shit we look at their spaceships?
There are things that we can't explain. That we can't explain all. I always reference
But we have the ability to think, and that's how movies are made, and creative thought is progressed, and I think we kind of formulated a pretty good idea of what could be out there.
I think so.
Well, this was a fascinating conversation, nonetheless. I love talking with you both. And again, I'm so honored to have hosted this podcast. Again, this is the Cobra Concept.
It's a good initiation. I like this first podcast.
I like it too. It was fun. We really just went all over the place, but I love that we talked about relationships, aliens.
Aliens. Always.
Yeah.
AI, technology.
Social media, and what do you want to touch on last? What can you tell people out there who are struggling to find their place in the world and relationships? What is one thing that...
There's always going to be a hurdle. There's always going to be another mountain. There's always going to be something. You know, if you're trying to please someone and you strive to do that, there's always going to be another thing at the end of that. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. There's always something. So don't just chase. Focus on living in the moment. Focus on the journey. And I think one of the most important is to fine-tune yourself. Like, redefine yourself. Shed the old mold of who you were and continue to grow. Find your passion and change things up. Don't keep being stuck on the same patterns. Switch things up. Plan ahead. You know, have a balance of, you know, what's important. You know, keep what's important in mind always, so you have no regrets later. That's it.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll catch you next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.